Hi guys, Kevin from mechanicaladvantage.com again. This is going to look at part 2 of the NYC CNC Wednesday widget, and in this portion of the tips and tricks I'm going to show you how you can add a couple of the needed holes to this part. We need to add two holes. One is going to be centered on this face and one is going to be centered on this arc face down here. There's an easy way to add this hole to this face. There's two ways to do it. You could create a sketch, add a point, dimension that point, and then put the hole through. That's what John does on his video. I'm going to show you how I could center a hole on the face fairly quickly, but one thing to keep in mind is if the size of this face updates, the hole will not stay centered on that face. You'll have to go back and manually fix that. So that's the danger with using this hole method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose the hole option. And it wants to know what face I want to put the hole on. So I'm going to select this face right there. And when I do, if we zoom in a little bit, you see that little point that appears? If I line those 2 points up, that hole is now centered on that face of that part. I want a 1/4 inch diameter and I want it to go all the way through, so we can accept what we have here and go ahead and click OK. So that was a pretty fast way to add that hole centered on that face. The second hole I want to place is going to be on the center line of the part on the quadrant point of this arc down here. So we'll go ahead and we'll right click and we'll say hole again, and I'm just going to click on the arc, and automatically Fusion is going to place that hole centered horizontally on that part. Now we still need to control the vertical offset. And to do that, we just have to select what our reference point is. I'm going to select this top face. My part is 1/2 inch thick, so half of that is going to be 0.25. And now that hole is centered, the last thing that I want to do is I want that hole to stop on the center line of this hole. So what I will do in that case is I'm going to choose for the extents 2, and I'm going to select the inside part of that hole. Now that's going to give me a hole that stops on the center line of this hole. If I wanted to do an angle hole through this part, I can just grab this and rotate it around. You can see that Fusion didn't like the change I make because we're not going to intersect that center point of that hole anymore. So we'll just come back and we'll change our center angle to 0. And then the hole appears and we can go ahead and click OK. And there we've placed our second hole fairly quickly. Thanks for watching.